Welcome to the latest installment of Come On You Reds. We call this Touchline Talk. Gareth Wheeler with you. My partner in crime, Terry Dunfield, still under the weather. We're wishing him well, and he'll be back next week to break down Toronto FC and Orlando City coming your way on Saturday night. But Dunfield's out. Bono is in. He's one of my all-time favorites over the years with Toronto FC, and he's generous enough to share some of his valuable time away from the pool down in Orlando to chat with me and you, the Toronto FC fan. The one, the only Alex Bono joining us this week. What's going on, Bones? It's been a while.
Hey, Gareth, you and I could sit here and talk for a couple hours if we had the time. But Terry, hope you feel better, man. Never wish sickness upon anyone. So wishing you a speedy recovery. But in the meantime, let's have some fun.
Absolutely. Dunfield's tough. We know that over the course of his TFC days and up with the academy. You cannot hold that guy down. How are things going for you and the boys down there? It's so weird because each and every week we watch you play. We feel like we have this connection. But then a week like this where you have a rare you don't have a midweek game, one of those rare times. It's like, I wonder what the guys are up to. So what are you up to?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. We do train still. So we have a lot of training throughout the week. This is actually, it's kind of nice for us because it's our first week in a long time where we have a proper full week of prep leading up to a game. So obviously we all love playing games. We all love the intensity of game day and showing up and being in the stadium with the surroundings. But at the same time, it's nice to kind of take a step back once in a while and reset ourselves and make sure that we're really doing a full prep week when it comes to on-field stuff, gym stuff, research for the other team and all that stuff. So it's actually kind of nice that we've had this little bit of a game break for a week at this point and, get rare and ready to go for Saturday.
That's what I was going to say. You're not going to Mexico. You're not going to New York. Sometimes you just need to catch your breath. And it seems like the start of the season, although it's kind of been drawn out a little bit because of Champions League play, it seems like the games came fast and furious. And now the team's starting to settle in. Is that kind of the best way to put it?
Definitely. And listen, we talk about this all the time. We're playing under some tough circumstances, but the motto of this team is that we're not going to make excuses for anything. So what some people don't know is that when we play in New York, it's a 1:00 game. So it's early kickoff. You show up, you fly the night before, you have one or two meals if you can fit it before the game. You're on the bus from Manhattan up to the Bronx. It takes an hour to get there. You're on the bus, you get there, warm up, boom, game time. And then it's like, okay, you go straight from the stadium on the bus, straight to the airport, delay on the plane. And it's a long day. You don't get back until 10 o'clock. And so when you're doing that Saturday, Wednesday, it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on you, on the guys for sure. But now that we get a chance to settle in, we get a chance to have a full prep week of training, get a chance to kind of be in that training environment with just us, right? It's been pretty rare that we've had full weeks, a lot of time with just us. And so it's really nice. We've had a couple fun, intense days of training, really get the work in early in the week and make sure that we're at our best for Saturday.
Living that lifestyle away from home, I know there's a lot of focus on football and on soccer. You're thinking about it, you're training, you're in it all the time. What are you doing to escape? Like we had Ralph Prizo on last week. He's doing homework, which I find incredible because he's still in high school, but he's watching Friends. He's watching Friends, a show that was out before he was even born. What are you doing?
Yeah. I've already watched Friends, so I don't really have to go back and do all that stuff. These guys are young, and so they're maybe a little bit too young for relationships and, that sort of thing. But I'm fortunate enough that my girlfriend's down with me. So she occupies some of my time, but she's in school. So she's doing some classes and she's busy. My parents have been vaccinated for a couple months now and they're down for this week. So the time spent away from the field is nice because I can spend it with them and I can, some of that time is, we had a day off and I was able to go golfing with my parents and play 18 holes and, dad, mom come down and cook for you. You get some home cooked meals and, some real nice family time. So that kind of stuff. I know a lot of guys have family and children and wives and girlfriends down here. So just that release for us, it gives us a bit of feel like you're at home, which is awesome.
If you haven't met the Bonos before, they are the best as well. Just by the sounds of it, this experience being away from home, it sounds night and day different than it was in Hartford last year.
Oh yeah.
Just a way better environment because having a little bit more freedom, having a little bit more sense of normalcy.
Definitely. First and foremost, we were in a tough part of the country in the middle of a pandemic where there's not a ton going on anyways. And then you've got, you throw the pandemic on top of that and everything's closed. Some guys are living in the hotel still. Some guys are out of the hotel now in our different accommodations over here that are better for families and larger groups of people that have come down, which is the other thing where, you're there, you're alone. Yeah, we could fly back for 2 days in Hartford, but you're on your own. Every time that you leave home to come back to Hartford, you're like, oh, here we go again. Bye, kids and wife. See you in 3 weeks. It's not easy for a lot of guys. Family is important for everyone. It's a real family environment here. So the club has done an amazing job of accommodating families coming down, accommodating guys that are moving out of the hotel and trying to find a little bit more space, a little bit more freedom. And then, of course, you add on top of it, we are in Florida. And then the fact of the matter is that Florida is, they're progressing faster than most other places in North America in terms of opening restrictions and giving us the opportunity to kind of live a normal life. And, like we said, we have the vast majority of our guys have now been fully vaccinated for a couple of weeks now. Families we're trying to push through and get them vaccinations as soon as possible. So, on top of that, everyone's making a real push to try and move towards living a bit freer, living a bit more normal down here.
Good. Just until you return to Toronto, which we hope in the not so distant future. Let's transition on the field. You picked up your first clean sheet of the season last week. You picked up a point against New York City FC on the weekend. I've been harping on it, the fact that that's a tricky fixture, man. Some of these three Canadian teams have had these fixtures where you play midweek and you have to travel to play an opponent on the weekend, and they've been sitting at home all week preparing for you. So I consider that a really good point as well. You made the comment that you felt like last week will kickstart the season. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, you take what you do from the game on the weekend, and some of the things that we took as a whole group were, listen, you go to that stadium in tough conditions. It's a really hot day with some tough field conditions, and you take a point from there. Of course, you wish you could take all three. There were moments where we had the chance to take all three. We had a chance to keep a shutout. We had a chance for more goals. But at the end of the day, what's done is done. We take the point and we move on. It's not a bad road point against a team that started off the season really well and really strong. So, of course, you want three every single time you step out in the field. But the reality is no one in the history of the league has ever done that. So sometimes you got to roll the punches and you're going to face adversity. And we take a point from a tough game, at New York City, and move on to the next week. We had a couple of days off to reset ourselves, and we've been back in for training, hard and intense. And it really does feel like there's an energy amongst the group as we get guys healthy. Paz is coming back. Sateldo's still working into the group and trying to find his feet with, getting the connections with the guys and stuff that are on the field as well. So as we get healthier, we get stronger. As we spend more time together with a new staff, we still get stronger. And as we spend more time as a group away from home, facing the adversity together, we get stronger. So that's our motto, is that we're going to keep getting stronger as the season goes, and we're going to keep trying to find 3 points every time we go out there.
I know you want to win every game, but speaking with so many MLS coaches over the years, it always seems like it takes 7 or 8 games to kind of get your legs and start figuring things out. Then you go from there. I mean, that's kind of the benefit of no relegation in the league, that, some teams do every year ease their way into the season. Not saying that you guys are, but you're figuring this out as a group. The game style, the game model's a little bit different. And although there's so many familiar faces from that 2017 MLS Cup winning team, there's a lot of new faces that have come in as well. What's your feeling about the group? Does it feel like it's just that good blend of old and new, and now you're just all kind of coming together?
Yeah, make no doubt about it. We are a different team than we were. And that's not to say that one group is better or worse than the last. Like, we have a ton of talent on this team, from the guys that we've brought in over the last couple of years that are real big contributors, from the kids that, the young guys that you've seen come in and really make an impact for us. I think Ralph's been amazing this year. Noble, I think he's been awesome in his opportunities, and Jaden and Jack in their opportunities as well, coming in and really contributing. So it's exciting what's happening here. And I think that everyone can feel that we have a good enough team to do whatever we want this season, but it's going to take the commitment. It's going to take the work day in, day out. And it's going to take everyone, right? It's not 11 guys or 18 guys. It's everybody. Throughout the course of the season, you're going to need to call on everyone at one point, whether it's on the training pitch, on the game field. And that's a huge part of the team we were back then that I think that we have now, is that we have depth. It's going to be tough to make an 18-man game day roster for our team as you look as guys get healthy. So the fact that we have that much talent, as long as everyone's pulling their weight, as you've heard Chris say a bunch of times, as long as people are pulling their weight, then we've got an opportunity to be a really, really good team.
And you need your squad. There's World Cup qualifiers. There's Gold Cup. It's going to be a busy season as well. Yeah, no kidding. We've been fortunate enough to chat with Chris Armas on a regular basis. He blames coffee, but I don't know. I think it's natural. He is even a more high energy guy than I am. Like, he wears me out. What's he like on a regular basis? We haven't seen him at training because we haven't been able to, see you guys in action at the training ground. Is he like that on a day-to-day basis? Like,
imagine the energy that he brings to a Zoom call, and that's after training. So he's already done his energy for the day. He's already gotten that out for the day. And then he brings it again when he's on a call with you guys, when he's talking to people. And it's like, first of all, just such a great guy to talk to and such a personable guy. And I know that's been, guys have really appreciated that about him, is that he's easy to talk to. And as he continues to implement, as everyone's continuing to help each other, it becomes, we're gelling more and more, which is great. But he really does bring the energy. And if you're not bringing the energy, if you show up to training and you're still sleeping or not quite ready to be out there yet, you'll hear about it. And it's hard not to kind of feed off of his energy, because he is bringing it every single day.
You guys have dealt with so many injuries to start the season. Pozuelo hasn't been in the team. Altidor's been in and out. Soteldo's coming in. Mavingo is out. The list goes on and on. I know it's not an excuse, but obviously it takes time for the group to come together. But where do you see this team? Where is the group improving at present time? And where do you think there's still room for the team to hit that next level?
We had a talk after the Red Bull game about, some guys, and as a big group, we had to talk about what kind of team do we want to be. We have too many players to not be able to keep possession of the ball better, right? We weren't good in possession against Red Bull. So we got together as a group. Hey, if we're going to be this team, we got to work on it. We got to do this. We got to do that. And we helped mesh together. And then along with that, the coaches set out a plan, and we've been working on ball possession, right? We still want to have our intensity in pressing. We still want to have our ability to hurt teams without the ball, and by making aggressive runs in behind and playing direct at times, because we have the personnel that can handle that. Josie and Io and Pat Mullins, Dom Dwyer, all strong guys in their post-up play and in the air with direct play. But then you've got guys like Soteldo and Paz and Oso and Markey and all these guys who are really great, and those forwards as well, who are really great in being able to keep possession and play that style. So we're not a one-dimensional team. We don't have a one-dimensional roster. So for us to say as a group, hey, listen, it's not good enough. Let's try and hone in, and let's focus on some different things throughout the next few days, this week, that week, and try and bring it all together on the weekend. That's been something that I've been really impressed with, that we may have missed in past years, where it's like, okay, people see an issue, coach sees an issue. Let's all talk it out, and let's make sure we're doing what's best for the team and the guys.
You're playing a big role in this team. You've started every game thus far. You took to social media on the weekend after conceding against New York City FC. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but you put hand up for me today, not good enough, still learning and growing every day. Why was it important to put out that message to Toronto FC fans? Because I think it's well known the life of a goalkeeper is not an easy one in this game.
I don't expect people to understand or sympathize with that, right? This is the life that I chose and the role that I've played, and it's one that I love doing, and I pour my heart and soul into every single game, and we know how it is with fan interaction. We know how it is with all that stuff, and you try and block out the noise and all that stuff. At the same time, with this team, we talk a lot about accountability, and the thing that people will say whatever they want about the goal that happened on the weekend. I put my hand up for it and said it's not good enough for me. And the guys came to me and they said, forget that. You're good. You've been awesome for us this season, and we love the way that you stepped up and this and that. this is a group thing, right? Like this is a team thing. And that was really special for me that some guys came up and said that to me. Because we know it's not always sunshine and rainbows from the outside looking in. It's not always the nicest things that are said from the outside looking in. And at the end of the day, what's said on the outside doesn't really matter. And that's kind of the point, is like, hey, listen, I'm going to take accountability. What anyone else wants to think or say about it, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really matter to my teammates, because at the end of the day, the only people that are on the field putting it out there every day are us. And so if someone makes a mistake, I'm the first one to go say, Omar or Chris or whoever it might be, hey, next play, let's keep our heads up. And Omar came up to me right for the goal, and he said, keep your head up. Okay. We're going to need you again this game. You're going to need to make some saves for us. And that uplifting, right? Like at the right time, that uplifting spirit, that positive reinforcement, while also being intense when you need to be, it is a huge part of sports in general. And it's something that I learned over the weekend with the guys that we have is, no one's looking at me or pointing a finger. Like, it is what it is. You move on to the next play. We come back. We get a point in New York City. Jacob Schaffberg gets his first goal. And we take the point. We come home and we work towards the next weekend. Like, everyone makes mistakes. You can't change it once it's happened. And so there's no sense in dwelling on it.
That's why over the course of my playing career, I always thought that the goalkeepers I played with were amongst the craziest people I played with, because you need to be a little bit, because one mistake, it's under, the magnifying glass. Well, players on the field, you can make 10, 15 mistakes and it kind of gets brushed under the rug. I do think it said a lot that you bounce back right after a massive double save on another free kick to help give your chance an opportunity for a point. I know that you're hard on yourself. I know you put pressure on yourself, but how do you kind of block that out? Like, how much pressure do you put on yourself, and how do you use that in a positive way?
The pressure that I put on myself is it's exactly that. It's I put it on myself. I try not to let outside pressure affect my mentality or the way that I approach a game, right? Like, the pressure I have on myself is every game I'm going to go out there and I'm not going to give up a goal. And every time I do give up a goal, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, I don't care if you put it in the top corner from 2 yards away from me and I had zero chance at it. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to say, well, maybe I could close down that ball and not allow him to get a shot off. Like the mind of a goalkeeper is that whenever the ball hits the back of the net, you look and you say, okay, what could I have done to help prevent this? Right. And not everyone is like, oh, well, just catch it. Like, it's obviously not always that simple. Maybe it's like, can you cut out this cross? Can you, close down the attacker and give him less space, right? Because he has a whole goal to shoot at. And so no matter what type of goal goes in, no matter how it goes in, you always look at it and you say, where can I have been better on this? And if the answer is, listen, he just hit a good one, like, okay, you move on. If the answer is you could probably be a step this way, or a little bit more on your toes, or a better reaction there. That's stuff that we talk about as goalkeepers all the time. And that's just kind of the nature of the game, is that when the ball goes in the back of the net, everyone looks at you. And then you also look at you and you say, well, let me just kind of digest this and see what I could have done.
I know that you analyze, you assess, you go over these things with your goalkeeping coach, John Conway, with Armas, with Q, with everyone. It's a real team effort. So when you look and assess your play this season thus far, where are you at? Are you happy with where you're at? What have you been working on? Where do you want to take this?
Listen, first off, I'm grateful that I've had an opportunity to start the games for the team this season. I've been, it's exciting for me. I haven't had a run of games like this in a long time. And I felt like it's been coming, throughout last year and whatever. I felt like I've been training the best I'd ever trained, and I was ready to go and been playing as good as I've ever played. And so the opportunity comes and you're like, okay, well, here it is. Like, you don't know when it's going to end. You don't know how long it's going to last. So let's make the most of it every single game. And that's all that I've thought going into every game is go out there for 90 minutes. Whatever happens, have fun, make good decisions, and play within yourself. Like we have a good enough team. None of our goalkeepers in the entire league need to go out there and do something that's beyond themselves, right? You play to your strengths. You play your own game, and everyone's strengths are different. But at the end of the day, the way that you really start making mistakes or this and that is when you start to try and do too much. You try and play outside of your abilities, or you try and do something that's not really part of the strength of your game. So for me, it's like, just go out there, smile, be intense, play my game, make good decisions, and give the guy in front of me the best chance to win. And the chips are going to fall wherever they fall. And wherever those chips fall is where I have to live with them. And that's that.
You're obviously a very good goalkeeper, Alex. You've played the most games in Toronto FC history. You're the most clean sheets. You've won an MLS Cup. You've played and taken a team to a Champions League final. Like, your resume is there. But what we're seeing in world football today is more of those tandems, teams having those two number ones. Mm-hmm. So when you're not playing, and I know how frustrating it was for you last season, like, what are you learning? What are you taking in? How are you using that to make you better?
Yeah, honestly, the amount of time that I spent not on the field, it gives you a different perspective. Like, knowing when you don't know anything about playing or the experience, and you're sitting on the bench, you're like, okay, well, it is what it is. Like, maybe one day I'll get my chance. I'll keep working hard and this and that. Then you play, right? And you're the guy. And then all of a sudden you're not the guy. And knowing what you know from playing, the experiences that you have, when you're watching it now, you have a totally different perspective than when you were a young kid and it was like, this is the coolest thing. I'm on the bench for an MLS team. Like, this is amazing. Then you're kind of like angry about it, but you have more knowledge. You see the game in a different perspective. And obviously I got a lot of time to sit and watch, and I have the utmost respect for Q. He's an awesome goalkeeper. He's an even better guy. And the interesting thing is, we are a very different style of goalkeepers. And so for me to sit there and watch someone who's a totally different style from me, where we have different strengths and weaknesses, to learn from the things that he does well and try and use them in a way that also complements my game, right? Like, I will never be, maybe I'll never be as fast off my line as he is, or feel as comfortable playing so high up off my line as he does, because he does it really well. His possession with the ball is awesome. I would love to be able to distribute the ball like him. And I'm trying. I work on it every single day, right? We're always trying to make the weaknesses better, make them a strength of our game. So I look at him and I say, okay, what can I learn from this guy? Because he's been around the block a lot at some really high places, some really impressive experiences, some big teams. And he comes here and he plays, and I watch him and I say, well, he does this really well. How can, in training, I watch him and ask questions, ask him questions and talk to him about certain things that I can try and implement in my own style, with my own flavor. And it's been a really interesting couple of years where, listen, we have an awesome professional working relationship. And he's an awesome guy, and there's not a bad thing I can say about him. And I've really appreciated the time that he's spent here.
Very cool. Great answer. It's a great perspective, because it's unlike any other position on the field where only one can play. And it takes patience. It takes perseverance. And you've shown all of that, Alex. So well done on you. I want to ask you about the goalkeeping position, because last weekend we saw Alisson Becker score for Liverpool in the 95th minute. Headed goal. It was a very good headed goal as well. Have you ever scored that way in a game?
No, but
have you ever scored in a game?
When I was in high school, my junior year of high school, so grade 11, for all you Canadians, that's the way that, high school is freshman, sophomore, junior, senior in the States, is, as well as university. Grade 11, there was a guy who actually ended up going to Syracuse with me. He was my backup at Syracuse. He started over me in high school. And my junior year, I was our backup striker. So I would be subbed into games, and, I'd go and play striker. And I hadn't played striker since I was young, before I ever played goalkeeper. And so I made a penalty kick. I hit a crossbar, but my hold up play was pretty solid, So, but the thrill of scoring a goal, the next year, my senior year, I scored the goal to clinch like the local championship, right? And it was a penalty kick. And it was the last penalty kick. And it's like, well, you make it, we win, you miss it, we're going to keep going here. So I was like, oh, okay. So you go up and you score it, and it's like the craziest thing ever. The rush of scoring a goal is like so much different than any feeling that I could personally feel as a goalkeeper. Like saving a PK doesn't add up to scoring a goal. It feels amazing. I would love to save so many PKs and feel that good.
Sure.
But when you see the ball hit the back of the net, it comes off of your foot, you're like, no. Nothing quite feels as good as this. So when these guys celebrate like crazy, I'm like, you really have no control over your body because you're going crazy, right? And you see it all the time. Guys do like some weird things when they score goals. You're like, okay, I get it now because I've scored a goal. No big deal, No, I'm just
have you talked to coach though since last week and say, you know what, you need to get me involved in set pieces. You got to push me forward. Even if it's a 1-1 draw, push me forward. I can do that.
No chance. I'll tell you why, because the chances of me scoring a goal are extremely slim. And the recovery run, if it's counted the other way, I haven't run that far in one single setting in a long time, that fast anyway. So I know that there's some poachers on this team, and I'll let them do the scoring.
See, Jurgen Klopp called it world class. It was a very good header. For me, Alex, a goalkeeper should know how to head a ball, right?
Listen,
And make that run. Like, isn't that basic soccer skills, or is that goal, in your opinion, world class?
I'm not going to lie to you. I see your tweets. You're a big Manchester United guy. I know how Liverpool's goalkeeper scoring a goal might come off, and that's okay. I get that. But let's just say there are a lot of strikers in world football that have had opportunities like that and don't quite put it away that well. Yeah. So like I personally, if the ball's coming in my head, like outside the box, I'm like, shit, I got to head it. And then you just do it, right. Like it is what it is. But like to willingly, I look at Omar all the time. I'm like, dude, you willingly jump into people's heads and thrust your neck into to head a ball. And I'm like, you're crazy. People think I'm crazy. Like goalkeepers are crazy. You are crazy. Like that it's not a soft ball. Like no one you can't sit here and tell me that you want to do that, So for me to be able to head it accurately and score a goal like that, I don't care if you're a goalkeeper or a striker. That's pretty impressive.
It was it was honestly a phenomenal moment. The cynic in me was like shocking defending by a relegation side, but I'll give him credit. I just didn't want to say it was world class. That's why I need to come to you to figure out if it was actually world class or not. So I'll take it that it is.
Yes. And the thing with Alisson and his father and all that, and to keep Liverpool in the race for Champions League and the whole story with that, it just kind of makes it like a real moment that's even bigger than a goalkeeper scoring a goal in a game, like all those things add together. Like, wow, that's really cool.
Did you see the Cavani goal from yesterday? See, I was thinking about you because Angulo did that to you for Cruz Azul. I think Angulo's goal was better. Because the way that he turned, hit it on the volley, like honestly, Alex, you got your fingertips to it. There wasn't much more that you could do on that. That's tough. And sometimes you have to tip your cap to the striker, the goal scorer, don't you? Yeah,
and that's like the way that goalkeepers are asked to play now is, listen, can you help us off your line? Can you kind of close that gap so our defenders don't have to make all those tracking runs, or the strikers, don't have the space to beat them to the ball? And so the way that goalkeepers are asked to play now is you want to have the sweeper keeper aspect to it. And the thing with Angulo is that the ball comes off of Justin Morrow. He heads it and it's kind of bouncing backwards. And I don't know if he looked before or if he didn't really look at all, but he's not looking. When I see him approaching the ball, like he hasn't looked at me, to see that I'm off my line. He just kind of does it. And it's kind of like one of those oh shit moments where it's like, okay, here it comes. Like how far out am I really, and how long is it going to take me to get back there? And how well does he have to hit this to the point where I can't get a touch on it, or I can't get back there fast enough? So listen, when you're asked to play that way and bounces kind of happen, right? Like you look at the Cavani one and it just kind of, it falls for him. He's there. And then it's like, oh, he's out, kind of a weirdish way to get there. And then bam, and it's like, okay, sometimes
it's tough. Those are two phenomenal strikes, like it's easy to blame the goalkeeper, but that's not always that's simplistic. Okay. I put together
blame goalkeepers, and that's part of
in every sport. You've been in Toronto. Toronto Maple Leafs goalkeeping has been the problem apparently since the dawn of time, since 1967. 60s, yeah. So I want to play a game. It's rapid fire Alex Bono edition. I put together a series of questions. You can either provide one-word answers or feel free to elaborate. I put together this list of questions, some based upon you, your likes, your dislikes, what I know about you. Others I'm just curious about, or they're common questions that people ask. Okay, so you ready for this? So this is rapid fire Alex Bono edition. Who do you dislike more, Brady or Belichick?
Belichick.
No elaboration, just Belichick?
I think that's an easy one.
Better atmosphere, Highmark Stadium, where the Bills play, or Azteca 2018 Champions League?
Honestly, I think that away at Tigres was twice as good of an atmosphere. And if you take away the fact that it was Azteca, then I think that it was kind of like it was kind of an average atmosphere for, a midweek Club America game. So I'm going to go Bills.
Yeah. No one was going through a table in Mexico. Let's put it that way. Who's going to win the Larry O'Brien trophy? Who's going to win the NBA this season?
I kind of want the Suns to do it. So I'll stick with that and I'll just say Suns. I'll go with my heart.
Stanley Cup champion this year?
Stanley Cup champion this year. I will go with Vegas Golden Knights. Okay. No, change. Avalanche. Colorado Avalanche.
It was a trick question. You were supposed to say Maple Leafs, and you didn't say either.
I know what I was supposed to say, but Alex Bono edition. We're Buffalo Sabres guys, so we can't talk about.
Yes, you're keeping it real, dude. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
U.S. Opens this weekend in golf. Yeah. Who's going to win the tournament?
Anytime there's a major, I put Koepka in my list of betting favorites because the guy shows up for tournaments and hangs on a yacht all day, all week, and then shows up for a tournament and shoots 12 under on the weekend. You're like, okay. So I'll go Koepka.
Correct answer was John Rahm, by the way. When will Syracuse be good at football again?
Wow. Honestly, I thought they were taking a turn a few years ago. And I was like, okay, we had a couple bowl seasons. There was an 8-win season, I think, in there. And I was like, okay, here we go. This is it. You could be waiting a while for that. I think. Listen, I think they play in a tough conference where you're competing with ACC teams where they throw so much money to these programs and the facilities and the stadiums and the culture is a bit different. Syracuse is a basketball school. So the culture is a bit different in some of these ACC schools with football. And I think that kind of hurts Syracuse with recruiting. If they played in a different conference, I think they might have a bit more success.
More popular Syracuse alum, Carmelo or Donovan McNabb?
Wow, that's actually a good question.
I'm
going to say because he's more modern, Carmelo. I think basketball is a bit more of a global sport than football is. So I'll go Carmelo.
All right. Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Better feeling, picking up a clean sheet or a Buffalo Bills win?
Clean sheet all day.
How many times a week do you talk to Jay Chapman?
Funny enough, I actually just got off FaceTime with him before, and I was like, oh, shit, I got to go talk to Gareth. I'll call you back after. So probably twice a week.
How many times a day do you text with Jay Chapman?
Probably 4 to 5 days out of the week. 4 days a week.
He's your buddy. That's why I have to ask you. People are wondering if you two are still staying connected. You're both in the same state right now. It must be that much more difficult.
We're 2.5 hours away. I haven't seen him one time.
Best stadium in MLS to play in other than BMO Field?
Other than BMO Field is the key there. I'm going to say I really, really like Red Bull Arena for the stadium, but they don't get enough people there on a normal basis. So I'll go with, I like playing in Philly. It's kind of weird, but I like playing in Philly.
I love the setting in Philly. I love it.
It's awesome. And their fans are Philly fans are just ruthless. So it's kind of fun.
And it's a hometown of your goalkeeping coach, Conway.
Yeah,
so there you go. Worst stadium in MLS to play in?
I think it's Foxborough, and it's not, the second worst isn't really that close.
Dude, it's a home of the Patriots. Come on. That was an easy answer for you. F1 or NASCAR?
F1.
Beer or wine?
Wine. Red. Always.
White sneakers or flip-flops?
I've worn a lot of flip-flops on here because I have no one to impress, really. But nothing beats a clean pair of white sneakers with a nice outfit. I'll tell you that much.
There you go. Disney or Epcot?
Epcot.
Yacht rock or EDM to be playing in the summertime?
Oh, it's so tough. Yacht rock. Yacht rock on Spotify is a great playlist.
It is outstanding. We did a whole podcast last year based around yacht rock.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of like a playlist curator way. Like I've got some really good themed playlists that are all in the same era of time. Different playlists in different eras, but same for each. I'm not a big mixer of eras in playlists. Like I like to keep the classic rock together. I like to keep my 60s, my doo-wops, in their own entities. And then I'll keep my EDM or my pop. I keep it all separate. I'm weird like that.
Dude, I am totally with you on that. Just a couple more. Do you prefer to cook or go or go to takeout?
Cook or takeout?
Yeah.
Is a big distinction with cook and go out to eat. I'm going to go with cook.
All right. Who's going to win the Champions League? Man City or Chelsea?
City.
Neuer or Oblak?
I think Oblak is the best right now and still somehow underrated. So I'm going Oblak.
Ederson or Alisson Becker?
Alisson.
Pool or ocean?
Pool.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
That a boy. Who will win Euro this summer?
France. I don't want to. If Chris Mavinga watches this, I'm going to tell him that I changed my answer over the last 24 to 48 hours, but I think France will do it.
Hardest shot on Toronto FC during training?
Oh, man. Honestly, a Jacob Schaffelberg left foot, because that guy tees it up and you're like, all right. And I hate to say it because he's this scrawny little guy, but the way that he something about it is it comes off and you're like, oh. Or Tsubasa and I have this thing where every time he gets it on a breakaway, instead of placing it, he just smacks it as hard as he can at me. I'm convinced he does it on purpose. So I think I'm going to say Tsubasa. And the way he hits the ball is just I have prints of stitches from the ball on my thighs for the next week.
Right on. Two more. Ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup, never mustard.
Yeah, buddy. A lot of our answers are the exact same. And finally, Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy?
Jeopardy. I think that the coolest thing, I'm an Aaron Rodgers, but not as smart when it comes to Jeopardy. I love watching it. I think it's so cool. Wheel of Fortune, I will say my mom is really good at playing Wheel of Fortune from home. She crushes it. But I'm a Jeopardy guy. That's
been my pandemic show, Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. Wheeler, the wheel, it's a natural fit. But Jeopardy is absolutely quality.
It's a bit more Wheel of Fortune is a bit more for the average person, right? Where Jeopardy's after you get to $300 in the first round of Jeopardy, in any section, that's if you know the section, you're basically useless,
Buddy, I am the epitome of average. You're upper crust, hence the Jeopardy answer. That was rapid fire with Alex Bono. That was fun. That was fun, right? That was okay. You were great at this game too. Definitive answers. No sitting on the fence. If you're going to do rapid fire, you got to give it and bring it. 100%. So well done, buddy. Just before I let you go, Saturday night, 7 p.m., Orlando City. Our viewers, our listeners can watch on TSN. This is an away match in your quote unquote home stadium. How weird is that?
It's a bit strange. It technically, it is the epitome of an away match, but it's we've played home games here. There will be fans, and I think a lot of them, and they will be wearing purple. So for us, it will feel like an away game for sure. Don't get me wrong. There'll be I don't care if we in the locker room 3 times and played on the field a few times, like it's going to feel like an away game for sure. No matter what anyone says, you never get used to Central Florida heat. So if we catch a humid night or if it rains during the day and it gets humid at night, like that's going to make that a bit, even tougher to play an Orlando away game. But listen, we've gotten some good results on that field. So I think we'll kind of take that and say, let's try and make it our home field today. Maybe we're like playing for home field for the next like month,
Yeah, it's like a cage match or retirement match in wrestling where the winner gets to keep it, the other goes home. So Orlando will have
King of the Hill type thing.
Yeah, they can go play at Disney or whatever.
We did it.
Plenty of games there. Exactly.
We played a lot of world sports.
And had some pretty good results there as well, to be honest with you.
That's true too.
Good luck this Saturday night. This has been awesome, Alex. Thank you so much for taking some time today. Look, Terry Dunfield's going to have his jobs potentially on the line with you coming after it. I'll make sure I let him know. Maybe that will inspire him to get out of bed.
One more thing. I'm not going to lie. I did just get readmitted into school, and that I studied broadcast. So I'm coming for someone's job at some point. Hopefully it's not for like a few years. I'll never come for your job because I like you. But Terry and I, we see each other at the facility, and I'm like, one day, guy.
Right.
One day.
I'm sure you'll take a lot of people's jobs. I wish you the best of luck in that. That's way down the road. Keep on focusing on your play on the field for now. We can't wait to see you guys play this weekend, then next week, and then a little bit of time off for the international break. He is strong. Alex Bono, Toronto FC goalkeeper, joining us on this week's Touchline Talk. So I want to thank Alex. I want to thank our producer, Erica, and thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week right here on Come On You Reds.